Hello and welcome back. In this video, we are going to add our get controller, so get.ts, and if we check the services gig service, you can see we have a method to get gig by ID, get seller gigs, and then get seller post gigs. Okay, so we are going to add the controller methods for these three functions we have here. Okay, and as usual, maybe I can just copy one of these right here. Okay, so copy this from delete, paste. I'll call this gig by ID. Okay, and here we get the gig of type iSeller gig, and then await get gig by ID, and then I'm going to pass request.params.gig ID. Okay, and then here I will just set the message as get gig by ID, and then I'll pass in the gig. Okay, I don't need this delete. So this is just what we need to get the single gig. The next will be get, that is gig or get sellers gig, get seller gigs. Okay, and then this method will be get seller gigs here, or let me rename this. I'll just call this seller gigs. Okay, seller gigs, and then here we are going to use, let's see, it requires the seller ID. Okay, so this requires the seller ID, so I'm going to pass and import this method, and I'm going to pass the seller ID. So I will just, the text will be seller gigs. Now this will return an array. Okay, it should return an array, as you can see right here. So it should be iSeller gigs, and it should return an array right here, and then we pass the key and the value in the JSON response. Okay, and then we need to add also for this post or inactive gigs, whatever you want to call it. So I will say, let me duplicate this as well. This is going to be seller inactive gigs, and then the function is this. Okay, and let me import. Okay, seller gigs, and also expects the seller ID. Okay, so now we have the three methods. Later we are still also going to update this controller. Once we add our search feature, we are going to update this controller, but for now I think this is what we need. And while we are still here in the controller, let me add the health. So health.ts. okay, and now for the health, I'll copy what I already have. Let me copy from my auth service, so copy this. Okay, paste right here. So this will be gig service is healthy and okay. Okay, so now we can use this if we go to our routes. Okay, first, no, not Redis, routes. Okay, so at first I will add the get routes. Okay, so the first one is going to be get, and the method is get gig by ID. Okay, so import gig by ID, and this is going to be colon gig ID. The second one is going to be get as well, seller gigs, and we'll require the seller ID, but this is going to be seller /: seller ID. Okay, and then the third one is inactive gigs. This is going to be seller pos then / seller ID. Okay, so because if you accidentally do something like this, then it's this for this request, this controller and route will always be called. Okay, so that was why I added this /pos / then / seller ID. Okay, even though you do something like this, my seller ID or what, this will always be called because these properties are dynamic. Okay, so now we have the 3 routes for our get. Let's add the health route. For this, it's going to be very simple. Okay, so we don't need to really worry. It's going to be health.ts, and then you can paste. We only need one, and it's going to be gig-health, and I will import the health method and then take out everything else. Okay, and this is just all we need. Let me change this to health routes. Now in the main route file, I'll replace this console log with health routes. This is going to be @gig. Okay, so we've added the get controller and also our health routes.